Hello everyone, this is Isaac, and I'm here today with another wow moment. What is the wow moment? It is the words of wisdom. Hey, it's only from me, so you can take it as being flawed words, words of enlightenment, words of chastisement, words that you embrace, or you can just simply turn it off. But either way, we gotta have a discussion. You know, I was talking to some friends of mine, which is usually how all these thoughts come to my mind. We're all going through different things in life. But I'm finding that in today's world, as a blessing to me, since I'm a martial arts instructor and a fitness instructor, I get to be around a lot of children and a lot of parents. And what I'm finding out, guys, contrary to what everybody is saying, I don't come across a lot of bad parents. I just come across a lot of bad parenting. I just touched upon something. Somebody at home now is offended. Look, I may not be talking about you. I may just be talking about me. But I'm going to speak the words of wisdom and some truth here. People are saying that we're living with a lost generation. I don't think the generation is lost. I think they're misguided. And that is coming because we're not parenting. We're just being parents. And here's the difference of what I'm saying with that. The TV is parenting our child. The PlayStation is parenting our child. Netflix is parenting our children. Teachers at the public school, private school, charter schools are parenting our children. We're not parenting, we're pushing. We're pushing our children away from us and putting them in the hands of coaches to say, go ahead and raise my children as you see fit, and then hoping that it fits within our values when they come home. Many of us don't even hope for that. We just hope for the best. We have to step up and change the way that we think and the way that our children perceive us, so that way they can see that we're serious about what we're telling them. In today's world, I think the problem that we're having is the lack of integrity, which leads to a lack of commitment, which leads to the lack of honor. There's very little integrity in today's world. See, we don't take blame very well. We don't look at ourselves and acknowledge that it's our fault that we're $17 trillion in debt. It's our fault that our elected officials are scandalous, that they're not doing their job. It's our fault taxes are so high. It's our fault that our credit cards are so high in interest and the average American family is so high in debt. It's our fault that we're living paycheck to paycheck. See, we don't do that. It's easier for us to go ahead and find blame upon others and push that blame upon others and upon other situations, because then it takes the light away from the fact that we did it. See, so I think what we need to do as a people is start to understand that it starts with us, how we live, how we present ourselves, and our commitment to follow through, finish it, and correct our mistakes. And that's hard. I was talking to a friend who was telling me about the credit card interest he has. I can't believe my interest is so high on this credit card. I'm never going to get out of debt making these minimum payments. I'm like, wait a minute. You signed that dotted line to agree to the terms of the credit card that you sought out and connected or contacted them. They may have sent you something in the mail, but you filled it out and sent it. Or you got online and filled out that application, or you called that 800 number and got that card sent to you acknowledging the terms of that high interest rate. Now you're going to complain about something that you openly engaged in? Wise up, stop complaining and change the situation. Look, going to McDonald's and charging a meal on a credit card at 21% interest is strictly idiocy. That's like going to a bank and asking for a loan for $10 and you're going to get 21% interest on that just so you can go to McDonald's and buy a meal, then complain about it later. You put yourself in that situation. Sitting and complaining about it doesn't get you out of it. You see, then he has car payment for a car that he can't afford that he's paying a house note to be in, that he's then trying to work at a minimum wage to make the car payment, but the insurance payment is higher than his car payment, and he's going to complain that I ain't getting paid enough at work. It's not about you not getting paid enough at work. It's about you not taking responsibility for trying to keep up with the Joneses and impress people that could care less about you. Then you sit around with your kids and complain about the state of today's world. I can't get ahead. The jobs don't pay me enough. Hey, look back at you and say, change what you can change, which starts with you. But again, we don't want to hear that. We want to pass the buck. It's somebody else's fault. People, can I just say this to you? Wise up. Stop complaining. Start changing. Stop living in your circumstance and making your circumstance your way of life, and start change how you're living. Stop being a slave to debt. Stop finding excuses and start finding solutions. These things are hard to say and hard to hear, but frankly, we need to hear them. You know, a friend of mine was a teacher, got out of the teaching field because he just got fed up with one thing in teaching: parents. You know, he discussed with me a particular child that he loved, and this was an elementary school kid. He said, Isaac, the kid hardly comes to school, and when he comes to school late, and the mom just has this thing about, well, I'm working late, and it's hard for me to get up and to get him to school. Wait a minute. What are you telling that child? How are you then yelling at that child later, or yelling at that teacher later, when that child is failing school? You have shown this child when he was young that there's no value in school. Why? Because your actions taught that child that if school doesn't matter to you to get him there on time, and if you can't pick him up on time after school, then school is not a priority for him. And you taught him that when he was young. So what happened with this child? Oh, we all know the story. Failed school, quits, doesn't graduate high school. Still to this day, many years later, still never, I think maybe now, probably got a GED, it maybe. But here's the thing. That child was conditioned when he was young, school doesn't matter, because the parent had a lack of integrity and a lack of commitment, a lack of follow-through to simply keep that child to that schedule of getting up, putting him in school, making sure the grades are there, making sure he studies at home. None of that went on because she decided that she was a parent, but I'm not really interested in parenting. Now, she may not have said that, but she let the situations dictate that. Wise up. We can't now complain about what that child is becoming, because we shaped that child to be that way. You know, in my business, from the insurance business to the sales business to banking to martial arts instruction, the one thing that I find over and over and over again is lack of commitment in everything we do. And all the professions that I've been in contact with and the people that are in contact with me through those professions. Lack of commitment, which falls back to the integrity. You see, a change in interest does not justify not completing your commitment, your task, your responsibility. Just because you say, I'm not interested in paying that credit card anymore, doesn't mean that you should stop paying it. Just because you say, I'm not interested in making my car note, doesn't mean you stop paying it. Just because you say, I'm not interested in making my mortgage payment, doesn't mean you stop paying it. A change in interest does not justify your lack of commitment, your follow-through, your completion, your exception of what you signed your name on to get engaged in. Guys, there's nothing different than that when you do a gym membership You sign your kids up for volleyball, you sign your kids up for soccer, you sign them up for martial arts, and then you decide, oh, my schedule is too busy. I'm out of here. What are you telling your child? I would assume that when you signed them up with soccer, you had a discussion with them on how long the season is. I assume that when you signed them up for track, you had a discussion of how long that season is. I assume that when you signed them up with martial arts, you had a discussion of how long this training commitment is. And then because you lose your interest in supporting your child, you invent reasons to demonstrate to them it's okay to have this lack of integrity, this lack of commitment, and this non-follow-through. See, Johnny, it's okay for us to quit because I understand you want to stay at home instead of go to karate class. I understand you don't want to do practice in track. You just want to show up on the track meet days. Are you kidding me? Guys, we have to start showing it begins with us. And we wonder why today nothing can be done on a person's word, because our word today means 0. And it's justified. It should mean 0. Because we don't follow up with what we do. We are easy to tell someone we're going to do something and then not do it, or back away from our commitment to do it. You know it's true because even with all the training agreements and contracts and everything else that we do today for credit cards, homes, cars, people are still walking away from the debt that they created and justify why we do it. So our word has 0 value because we're even now trying to backtrack upon things that we wrote our name on, saying that I agree to these terms and I would do these things. People, wise up. Honor yourselves by honoring your commitment. Honor your children by having agreements in your mind on you're going to figure out ways to complete tasks completely, instead of taking time to figure out how to gyp the person whom you owe. We spend more time trying to find ways to get out legally than exploring within ourselves the moral reasons, and our moral compass is the why we need to do this the right way and honor our commitments. People, wise up. Take the time to develop a plan and implement that plan to bring you to a positive solution, instead of taking the time to figure out how to get away with something. Take the time to show your kids that although you're in a bad situation, you're not a bad person for trying to find bad ways to get out of justified situations that you put yourself into. People, wise up. If you take as much time to honor your commitments, to show your kids that although the struggle is real, the way to get out of that struggle legally, ethically, morally is also available. It's not always the easy way, but it's the righteous way. People, wise up. It's time for us to stop showing others that we have no value because we're treating all those things around us as being valueless. But at the time we purchased it, we were happy we got it, to only then try to find a way and a means to get out of it. People, wisen up. Remember, even when you think your children aren't watching, they're watching you. Even when you think your children are saying, Mom and Dad, they're so great, and they may be saying that, they're also having you, as the gardener, plant the seed within their minds, which grows to them noticing that although I say I can do this, I don't have to do it. Although I wrote my name saying I'm going to honor this, I don't have to do it. They can take me to court. They can take my income taxes. I ain't going to pay taxes anyway. Really? That's how we want to raise our next generation. People, wise up. Who you say you are and who you portray yourself to be can be two different people. Which one do you want to show to your children? Tell them who you are, but then show them by the things that you do, by having honor, by having integrity,